Welcome back. Tonight we're going to do a Southern comfort favorite. We're going to do shrimp, cheesy grits, and broccoli. But the first thing we got to do is we got to make sure we got our utensils in good shape. So I'm going to take my favorite knife, which I showed before, and we want to make sure we got a good edge. It's nice and straight. And this sharpening rod also is impregnated with diamond dust, which gives me a little bit of sharpening and makes it easier to keep the hone and the blade straight and nice and sharp. So what I recommend is that after you do sharpen it, you take a wet rag and get any metal dust off it, because you don't want that in your food. So let's talk about shrimp. If you go to a store and you buy shrimp, and if you're in the central part of the United States, or you're not near an ocean or a gulf, it's going to be frozen. So if you walk into a Meijer's, a Kroger's, or your local grocery store, and you walk up to the seafood counter, and you see the shrimp or the fish, all that laid out, that was previously frozen, and they thawed it to put it on their shelf. So my recommendation is when you go to the store and you're buying shrimp or fish, buy it frozen, because then you have the control of how long it'll be thawed. And as you know, fish, when it's in the thawed state, can grow bacteria, and you don't want that to happen because that can make you sick. So the other thing that I want to talk about shrimp, it comes in various sizes. You know, it comes into mini, small, medium, large, and jumbo. And tonight we're going to do something special. It's going to be tiger prawns, which, okay, it's probably the largest in the shrimp family and probably has a taste closer to maybe even a lobster. But when you're shopping for shrimp, what you need to do is look at the source and the date that it was caught. And what I would recommend is, if you want the best tasting shrimp out there and you're in the United States, you want to look at Gulf or Miami Gulf. Miami Gulf is typically going to be a pinker shrimp, which is very good. And if you get regular Gulf shrimp, this would be Louisiana, Texas, and you know, it comes in various different sizes. It comes in again small, medium, and large. So depending on what you want to do with it, by size, you know, small you might want to put in a salad, medium maybe shrimp scampi, and large you could use as hors d'oeuvre or standalone to eat. Shrimp cooks very quick, and you don't want to overcook it, because then you basically have bubble gum. And at the end of the day, the best way to cook shrimp is to cook it frozen, a couple minutes in boiling water, and then flip it around in a hot frying pan or a wok, which I'm going to use tonight, for just about a minute with your favorite spice or herb, and it's ready to eat. And I want to tell you about another thing. This could be a little bit disturbing, but you know that thing they call a vein? It's really not a vein. It's their intestine. And you want to make sure when you're getting a whole shrimp and you cut it down the back that you remove what they call the vein, which is actually the intestine, because you don't want to eat poop, right? So tonight what we're going to do, the first thing is get the water ready to do the shrimp. So, what I have, you want to be over here? Is I use similar to Oak Bay. It's I call it Captain's Bay is what it is. I like this a little better than Old Bay because it's family sourced, and I use 1 full tablespoon into a pot of water, and this is what we're going to boil the shrimp in. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes because we got probably a gallon worth of water here, and we'll take this up to full heat and let it boil. So that's in preparation. The next thing we want to do is we're going to do broccoli tonight. And I'm going to show you a couple tricks with the broccoli. Everybody has a tendency to discard the stems. I'm going to show you how you can save the stems and have something that tastes very good. Never boil your broccoli, you overcook it, it becomes mushy. What you want to do is you want to steam it. So there's a lot of companies that make these steamers, they have little feet that allow it to sit off the bottom of the pan and allows for the water to be underneath and steam the broccoli so that you don't overcook it. So you're barely seeing just a little bit of water over the top. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to bust one of these down. As you can see, I've got all my flowerets here, nice and neat. Now, you have a couple little stems left over, and if you want, cut the dry end off. As you can see, there's a white meat on the inside, and if you take these and trim them down a little bit, kind of like carving a piece of wood. And then you take these, and what I'll use is a peeler and trim these down till I get to that white meat that's inside. And I'll show you, you probably can't see it so good right now, but once I get these trimmed, I'll show them to you. So that's what it looks like after you trim it. And these actually taste every bit as good as the broccoli. And you know, most people discard these. You want to get it down so it's light green or almost white. Very similar to this. So this is going to come up to a boil. When I start seeing it steaming, it's going to cook about 6 to 8 minutes. And then when you're done, immediately after you pull it off the stove, you want to drain it and season it while it's hot. The grits are ready to go from the aspect of being cooked. If you want to look, they're nice and creamy. The next thing we want to do is use a scale, zero your bowl out, 4 ounces of cheese into the grits. And then, with a spoon, this gets blended in. Want to make sure it all melts. And it doesn't take long. As you can see, it's creaming up real nice. There you go. Perfect cheesy grits. The grits were cooked 5 minutes according to the jar, quick 5-minute cook. And then you add the cheese off the stove and mix it till it blends in and it's melted. As you can see, very good, ready to go. We'll just let those sit. Now, the next thing we want to do is add our shrimp. Look at these. These are tiger prawns. They are very large. It's probably the largest shrimp available. I put these into the boiling water. And how do you know when they're cooked? They start floating. This is going to take a little longer because right now I dropped the temperature down to 181 and we want to be more towards boiling, which is 212. But when these start floating to the top, they're cooked and ready to go into the wok. So I mix these up a little bit. Now, I make dinner fun, so everybody's going to get dirty because they have to pull their shell off and pull the tail off, but that makes it fun. If you want to make it easy for everybody, once they come out of the boil, before you put them in the wok, you can pull the shell off. So let's wait for this gets done, and the next thing is we're going to assemble everything and you'll see the final results. Okay, as you can see, the shrimp are floating, and this took about 4 minutes because we had a lot of frozen shrimp, and when you dump the frozen shrimp in, it cools the water off. But trust me, the key is the shrimp floating and they're ready to drain and go to the next stage, which is flash fry in the wok. So now we're going to just drain these off. Okay, here we go. Little emeralds. And then you just want to mix them. This takes a little bit of talent and getting used to, but there you go. We want to cook these about just a little over a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Don't those look delicious?